Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What the heck's going on here? Huh? Why is this like this? What the heck is going on? You miserable thing? What is going on? I'm trying to. What is going on? Why is this in streaming? Why is it doing this? Well, unfortunately, I don't think the broadcast is working today. I'm not sure what happened, but there's some kind of technical difficulty, so I got to end this uh, because I'm not sure if everything is in order. Okay. Um, Hopefully, we'll be on Thursday and we'll try again. So, due to technical difficulties with Google and Restream, which who I'm working with, it just doesn't seem to be working. Well, I guess we're going to try again. Okay. Um, Maybe it is working. Not sure. So we're going to attempt it anyway and see what happens. But welcome to episode 13 on my podcast, Dave's Dugout, which is all about softball and nothing but softball. I'm Dave Schimpf, and I'm the author of this site. Um it's also on Facebook. It'll be on YouTube and TikTok and various sites like that. So I also have a toll-free number, and it's 833 7 Dugout. 833 7 Dugout. I also have a sign which is right behind me here. I'll get out of the way. It's reversed because of the camera, but it's called Dave's Dugout. If I light it up, it's a little bit too bright. Um, so we're gonna move on here. There is a USA softball clinic open to anybody who likes to umpire or wants to be an umpire. It'll be this Sunday, March 29th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Saline, Michigan. Saline, Michigan, at the Saline Rec Center. Okay, no cost, totally free. It's a great clinic if you're going to be an umpire, want to be an umpire. Uh, Show up. Um, see what it's like. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not for you, but find out. So attend this, and hopefully you'll learn something. It's a free clinic. They'll give you all kind of tips, uh, gymnasium work because it can't go outside this time of year in Michigan, and things like that. So just wanted to let you know about this. Today, I'd like to talk about last Thursday, we talked about the pitching rule and how difficult it is to call the correct pitching rule, whether or not to enforce certain things, because maybe it just doesn't look right, but doesn't make it not right. Okay. But today, we're going to talk about obstruction and interference. But we're going to basically focus on just obstruction in this on this site today. Okay. Thursday, we'll cover interference. Today, we're going to cover obstruction. Obstruction is an offense by the defense. Okay. It's something the defense does that is not according to the rule, and it's called obstruction. Okay. Only the defense has obstruction. The offensive team, the team on offense, commits interference, but the defense commits obstruction. Remember that. And we're going to go into the definition of obstruction, which is also in your softball rule book. Okay, it's in this rule book, your federation rule book, or if it's NCAA, if you're doing NCAA, it's also in that rule book. But today we're going to cover the federation rule definition because the federation is starting this week. Some states already started it, but in Michigan, it's going to be starting this week. I'm going to give you the definition now. Obstruction is the act of the defensive team member that hinders or impedes a batter's attempt to make contact with a pitch ball or impedes the progress of a runner or batter runner who is legally running the bases, unless the fielder is in possession of the ball or is making an initial play on a batted ball, then obstruction can occur. Okay? The act may be intentional or unintentional, physical or verbal. It doesn't matter if it's intentional or unintentional or whatever, it can be obstruction. Okay? Again, making a play on a thrown ball is when obstruction can occur. Not a batted ball, but a thrown ball. They must be in possession of the ball, okay, in order for it not to be obstruction. Just wanted to reiterate all that, okay? So now, I've got some videos we're going to talk about that'll help us. I'm going to bring those up, okay? Just give me a second here. I've got to bring it up. Now we're going to have somebody explaining obstruction in clear terms here, okay? Let's, sorry about that. Doesn't seem to be playing. You have to excuse me here.
Straddling quarter to quarter would be acceptable, or behind the leading edge on the outfield side of the base would also be acceptable. Setting up in front of the base, setting up with only a portion in front of the base would be acceptable. My setup here allows the runner to have the back portion of second base. Now, I can't tell the runner where she has to slide, so if the runner chooses to slide into me, and I do not have possession of the ball at that point, this setup stance, which is not obstruction, can become obstruction depending on how the play develops. Setting up with both of my feet blocking the whole base path or base, this would be considered obstruction. Setting up on the back half of second base, allowing the runner the inside half of second base, this would not be considered obstruction, but again, it could become obstruction if there's physical contact.
I'm going to run this back again, okay? Obviously, we missed some things here. Okay. Sorry. All kinds of problems here. What happens sometimes when you're trying to do things and you get a pop-up ad on my phone. All right? So we're going to bring this up again.
Access to the vertical plane would also be acceptable. My name is Christy Cornwell, and I'm going to talk with you about the new obstruction rule and what it means and how you can help your players make effective plays without violating the rule. So the new rule says you can't block the whole base plate or base path without being in possession of the ball. So the way as umpires we interpret that, we look at the leading edge of the plate or the base. We make that a vertical plane. So if your body is standing behind the vertical plane or the leading edge of the plate or the base, you can straddle and that would not be considered obstruction because the runner still has a portion of the base with the plate they can get to and the base path. For plays at the plate, we're looking for the catcher to be in fair territory, allowing the runner the back portion of the plate and the base path, to be straddling behind the leading edge, or if they want, to be in foul territory. For plays up the line, we're looking for the catcher, both feet, to be in fair territory, allowing a base path and a portion of the plate, or in foul territory, again allowing the front portion of the base path and the plate to be accessible. If we see a catcher that's set up straddling the line, we would consider this blocking the whole base path or plate because they're now straddling the fair side and the foul side, and their body's in front of the leading edge. So this would be considered obstruction. For errant throws, we allow the catcher to move through the base path, then allowing access to the plate or the base. If the throw draws the catcher into the base path, then we would look at obstruction on that play. Okay, so for plays at a base, we're going to talk about second base. Again, we have to remember that the rule is the defense cannot block the whole base or base path. So this would be considered a valid catch, not obstructing, because the runner would have access to the front edge, the leading edge of the whole base. Straddling behind the leading edge, allowing the runner to have access to the vertical plane, would also be acceptable. Straddling corner to corner would be acceptable. Or behind the leading edge on the outfield side of the base would also be acceptable. Setting up in front of the base, setting up with only a portion in front of the base would be acceptable. My setup here allows the runner to have the back portion of second base. Now, I can't tell the runner where she has to slide, so if the runner chooses to slide into me, and I do not have possession of the ball at that point, this setup stance, which is not obstruction, can become obstruction depending on how the play develops. Setting up with both of my feet blocking the whole base path or base, this would be considered obstruction. Setting up on the back half of second base, allowing the runner the inside half of second base, this would not be considered obstruction, but again, it could become obstruction if there's physical contact before I have possession of the ball.
There. I hope that helped explain the ways for a fielder to not obstruct the runner. Okay, so this is going to be very helpful to those of you coaching maybe the girls and or the girls trying to learn how to do things properly. This is a good way to show you how to avoid obstruction. Okay, for umpires, very difficult to discern sometimes what obstruction is because it happens so quickly. Remember one thing we always like to teach umpires, and that is stop, read the play, make the call. Now, obviously, it doesn't go that slowly, but you remember one thing: stop, read the play, and then make the call. And if you call obstruction, I'm going to stick out the wrong arm so it looks like it's left-handed. You put the left arm out, okay, and it's going to be delayed obstruction. That's a delayed dead ball, not delayed obstruction, a delayed dead ball. If there is an out, okay, now you call dead ball and you award the base or bases the obstructed runner would have gotten had there not been obstruction, okay? Remember that. So if it's at the plate, for instance, there's going to be no other awards except the plate. So you're going to be called a delayed dead ball. If the runner is tagged, now you have a dead ball and you have the player now being signaled safe, and that's the end of the play, okay? Now, in order again to have obstruction, the catcher is making a play on a thrown ball. If making a play on a thrown ball and takes the catcher into the path of the runner, whether or prohibits the runner from making contact with home plate, does anything at all to obstruct the runner, hinders, prohibits, stops, or forces the runner to slide, that is all terms of obstruction and need to be called. Now you're going to say to yourself, okay, the runner is going to be safe anyway. Doesn't matter. Make the call. Make the call if it's obstruction. Don't say to yourself, or don't make it say, okay, runner's safe, I don't need to make the call. You make the call. That's telling the defense that they did something wrong, and now you can explain it, okay? Explain it by the book. Use the terms in the book. Don't use other terms. Don't muddy it up with a whole bunch of verbiage, okay? Use the term in the book. Same thing on the bases. If the runner is obstructed, let's say she's rounding, let's say she hits a gapper. She's rounding first base, and the first baseman gets in her way of rounding the base, okay, and knocks the batter runner down, or just knocks her off her stride. And on her way to third base, because it's going to be a triple or looks like a triple, she gets thrown out on a close play at third base. Now you have obstruction at first base. And because it's such a close play at third base, it's pretty obvious that she could have attained third base had there not been obstruction. So therefore, you award the bases that the runner would have got had there not been obstruction. Okay? Remember that. Let's say she starts to get to third base, realizes, there's going to be a throw coming in, probably going to get me. So she heads back to second base. Okay? And you're protected now. The runner's protected. So she gets thrown out at second base. Now, in your opinion, in your judgment, if she would have turned around and went back to second base, and she would have attained third base, you award the runner third base. If you think that the runner could not have got third base, and that's why she headed back to second base, she's still protected. She's still protected. You award her second base. If by chance the runner gets knocked down at first base and gets up, okay, and decides, I can't get to third base, and she's kind of maybe brushing herself off or whatever, and maybe she's a little dazed, and she only goes so far to second base. The throw goes to second base, so she turns around and goes back to first base, okay? And she's safe at first. Now you award the runner third base because you say, in my judgment, she could have got third base. The runner has to run the bases properly in order to obtain third base. She can't cut across the diamond, can't do something where she doesn't run them properly. If she cuts across the diamond and goes to third base and stands there, now she's subject to appeal. So now the defense can appeal. And by the way, I've seen this happen. Now the defense can appeal that she did not run the bases properly. And so therefore, the appeal is upheld and she is now out. This is when an obstructed runner can be called out. They must run the bases properly. So in other words, she would have to run the second, touch it, and run the third and stand on third base. That's the proper way to run the bases, okay? I'm going to bring up another video here, all right? I've got a few videos here I'm going to bring up. So bear with me now while I bring these up, okay? Excuse me.
And 1-800-CONTACTS makes it
second.
so easy to renew your prescription or order new contact.
I'm having problems here trying to bring it up. You have to bear with me, okay?
District to get here. Reaches out in play to short to first.
I'm gonna.
Is this interference by the runner from second? Is it?
Excuse me here. I'm trying to bring this up again. Okay, here we
To
go.
win its district to get here. Reaches out in play to short to first.
Is this interference by the runner from second? Is it obstruction by the fielder because they got in the way of the runner? Or is this nothing? Who has the right to the base path on this play?
He's trying to get to the ball. So it could be obstruction on the runner here. She almost collided with Barcolo. Here on the east side of the Seattle metro area is your champs. So interference, as we're getting word now.
Yeah, this is
Interference is not
now.
reviewable, so the run scores.
Okay. Unfortunately, that was interference. I wasn't sure which play we were going to see there at first. Okay. So we're going to try and get past that one to the next play. Having all kinds of problems here today. You have to excuse me.
Needed to win its district to get here. Reaches out.
Okay. Unfortunately, I got to straighten this out. So we may have to cover this again on Thursday. You'll have to excuse me. Just one of these things that happened. I had them all lined up, and apparently that one covered interference, and I just can't get to the next play. So anyway, we did cover obstruction as far as how it's done on the bases. We have other points of obstruction I'd like to cover with video, and we'll do that another time. But Thursday, we're going to cover interference. I did cover the rule today. I did cover the proper way to cover bases and the proper way for an umpire to rule on obstruction. So hearing that, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm really sorry about all the problems I had here trying to put this on the line. For some reason, it wasn't allowing me to do it at first. But you have yourself a good night, okay?